Happy Monday, all you minties. This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and join me today as I give you an overview of the Ditko is Strange. This is a huge hardcover, so please stay tuned. And welcome back, everybody. Now, before I get started, a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us a copy of this huge monster-sized book. And how big is it? Well, here it is compared to the size of an omnibus and to the size of an epic collection. Just to give you an idea of how big this book is. Now, it's not the only one of its kind. It joins the ranks of these giant monster-sized books where you've seen artwork from Steranko, Jim Lee, Alex Ross. There are others as well. There's another Ditko book, and there's a couple of Jack Kirby's book of this ever-growing library. And look at my wife's bookends. She should be really proud of herself. They're holding up. Okay, I'm not surprised. But let's get back to the book. Now, this oversized hardcover retails for $100. We've seen the front and the spine, but let's take a look at this back. Ditko is Strange. All of this, of course, by Steve Ditko and Stan Lee. It shows you down there what the contents are, and that is Strange Tales 110 to 111 and 114 to 146. Close enough to the omnibus and the first epic, honestly, just missing that Spider-Man annual. Let's take a look inside. I always find it a fun yet difficult task to try to show these type of books off. So you have these giant blue bookend pages, this gorgeous giant image of Steve Ditko's Doctor Strange. You have the introduction by Jonathan Ross. You have the table of contents over here, and as I mentioned, most of this Stan the Man Lee, Strange Steve Ditko. There's also Don Rico, Roy Thomas, and Dennis O'Neil. That's right, they wrap up the Strange Tales run. But let's go ahead and get started with what this looks like. Here we go. Now, I'm sure you just realized that there was no cover to Strange Tales 110. As a matter of fact, it just jumps right into the first appearance of Doctor Strange and, of course, Nightmare. No cover to issue 111, but it does tell you at the top that it is Strange Tales 111. This is the fight with Baron Mordo. And I'm not going to go through each issue and just briefly talk about it. These started off as little 5-page stories towards the end of the Strange Tales comic, which mainly featured the Human Torch, the Fantastic Four, and towards the end, Nick Fury. And it's interesting because, oh, this is also interesting. This is his first appearance of his cape. I kept an eye on this. When I did a big read-through of my Doctor Strange collected editions a few years ago, I always wondered that the cape that showed up, and then it's not even red. It's blue when it first comes out. And then when did he start wearing the gloves? So these are the stupid things that I would keep tabs on. And the red cape, by the way, doesn't show up until after he fights Dormammu for the first time. This is the classic origin issue right here, the 115. And the 5 pages are now 8 pages. Because they saw, I guess, a strong interest in the character of Stephen Strange. And there we go. The origin of Doctor Strange, including the Ancient One there. And then Doctor Strange just becomes 8-page stories. And eventually 10-page stories. But what's really interesting is that he never got top billing in the cover. He did start showing up towards the bottom of the covers, going, and this here will flip a little more through the middle of the book. And this issue also contains stories about Doctor Strange. See, he still got the blue coat, or blue cape, sorry, until after he fights Dormammu, which also is the first appearance of a mysterious young lady that will grow to be one of his best supporting cast members. Here's the classic fight with Loki. So up until this, he was mainly fighting his own villains created for the book. And in this issue, he gets to fight Loki. So what I'm sure you've already noticed by now is that there are no covers to be found in this book. And this is the mysterious lady. Of course, most of us know that that turns out to be Clea, who is in the dimension with Dormammu. And Dormammu himself looks a little bit different. And it's after this fight, like I said, that he starts looking the way that you see him. And as a matter of fact, you probably can tell that even with his art, Ditko is making Strange look a little bit different. Towards his first appearance, he looks very Vincent Price-ish. But later on, he kind of, he develops his own slick look. Now, when I was younger, I always thought of Steve Ditko's art as just so simplistic. And yes, I realized I was a fool. I also didn't really admire Jack Kirby's artwork as well. I guess most kids that grew up reading comics my age were all about the 80s and 90s artists. It wasn't until I got older that I started to appreciate their art style. And even now, some of you are probably looking at Ditko's art as I'm flipping through this book and seeing how simplistic it is. But it is so much more than simplistic. It is so strong in ambiance. And you see when he's fighting characters like Dormammu, when he goes from the city to these unreal planes, just how much he drew from people like Dali. So you can see that there's this dichotomy of simple and straight lines when he's depicting, our world. And then when he goes into the magic realm, there's all these circular and wavy shapes that symbolize magic. And to this day, I'm not an artist, artists to this day still use those kind of shapes to depict magic, at least in the Marvel universe. So literally, this is the Marvel age of art. And it took me so many years to appreciate that. How foolish was I? And there's Clea again. Dormammu and Mordo starting to look a little bit different, more like you're probably used to seeing them. But let's get into, this Eternity saga that lasted 17 issues. Well, 17 backups of the Strange Tales. Literally, it's not until issue 146, the final Ditko issue, that he gets the cover. And I don't know if that's collected in here. But before I get there, I did want to do a little comparison. God, look at that. That is so beautiful. Eternity versus Doctor Strange. But let's go back here. And just so you can appreciate this wonderful book, I'm going to do a quick comparison to the Epic. And of course, the Epics collect the covers. See what I mean? No justice for Doctor Strange. Just a small blurb. Not even a blurb. Crazy. The book is called Strange Tales and doesn't even feature Doctor Strange. Alright, so just a quick comparison. Here's the page of this monster-sized book, and then the page in an Epic collection, which is the size and dimensions of a comic book. This is what I want to show, because I don't think a standard size book can do this art justice. That is insanity. See what I mean? How crazy and how different it looks in the real world. And for those of you that have seen the movie, you know how they had to try to modernize this with that almost Inception kind of look to those buildings. It's because they were trying to recapture this Steve Ditko magic. And again, opposite page here. And then we'll look at Eternity. And it's going to be so weird going back to this from looking at Ditko's art here. Now let's flip here to the back. They don't put a lot of extras in here because the book itself, this monster-sized book, has 328 pages. Now let's get back here. So we're getting closer to this end. Here's 145. We have Roy Thomas and Dennis O'Neil stepping in to co-write the stories now, as Doctor Strange is about to fight not only Dormammu, but Eternity. And issue 146 being the last one. Yeah, here we go. So it looks like they did not include the cover. But what you could probably tell is this is what I was talking about. Doctor Strange went from backups of 5 pages to 8 pages to 10 pages. The character's popularity just kept growing and growing. And I'm not going to show the last few pages of this, but just wanted to show you a little bit of this artwork. This is when Steve Ditko decided to step away from the character. And as I mentioned, everything's collected in here with the exception of that Spider-Man. Let's look at the extras to see what they have. I am censoring the page on the left just in case you don't know how it ends and you hate spoilers, even though, I mean, we're talking about a book over 40 years old, but it looks like we have original pages here. We have the pinup. As a matter of fact, I think this cover is the very first Doctor Strange pinup by Ditko. Then you have the original art right there, and then what I assume is the pinup sketch. And that, as they say, is that. Now, you can pick up this book from our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com. your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off the cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. And check out their bargain bin for even greater deals up to 90% off cover price. And for you Minties, Cheap Graphic Novels is running a special promotion. If you're a first-time customer, let them know you were referred by Near Mint Condition at the checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content of the book and the page count. Let me know in those comments down below if you've picked this up, if you have the omnibus, if you have the Epic Collection of Doctor Strange, if you still have those single issues. If you have any of these other monster-sized books, or the XXL Jim Lee book, or whatever title that Marvel has decided for these huge hardcovers, let me know in those comments down below. And also let me know what you want to see collected in this size. I think it's a really interesting size, and only certain artists can benefit from it, that's for sure. As for me, I would love to see some Neil Adams artwork from his X-Men run. And of course, Mark Silvestri on Wolverine. Or Barry Windsor-Smith on Weapon X. How cool would that be? Anyway, that's just me daydreaming. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe button, ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We can be found on Redbubble and on Patreon. Those are amazing ways to support the channel. Our Patreon has different tiers with different benefits. And more importantly, please everybody stay healthy, stay safe, and much love to all of you.